I'm so happy to welcome you all to the Supper Suite at South by Southwest 2019. Huge thanks to El Tesoro for letting us do these interviews today, because that means we could talk about movies like Booksmart. And I'm very excited about this for a number of reasons that I'll get to throughout the interview. But Katie, I wanted to start with you here because I'm also a huge fan of Set It Up. So I was wondering, when did this script pop up compared to that? And has like the past year or two just been a major whirlwind for you?
Yes, it's been really, really fun. We started working on this script right when Set It Up had finished shooting. So the fall of 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, September 20th, 2017. And so it was fun. And that was another experience. There was a female director, a female producer, like a very heavily female crew. And so that was a really great experience in terms of knowing what those benefits are. And when I was looking for a next project and something came in that was at Annapurna and Gloria Sanchez and Kaitlyn Dever was attached and the director was Olivia Wilde, it was like a dream email to respond to. And so it was just after that I got to kind of bound into this.
And you stepped in for the rewrite phase. So can you tell me a little bit about what you infused into the script that might not have been there before?
Yeah. Well, Olivia brought so many ideas. She knew so much what it was. It's really fun to come onto a project with such a clear, specific vision. And even her pitch for the movie I wanted to see before we knew how we were going to write it. So that there was a very, very clear line and leader throughout the whole process, especially vibe-wise. And so that was really, really fun. But we were able to make it, I think, autobiographical in that we wanted to see the women that we knew and the friendships that we had reflected on screen. And in that way, they're really funny. We were really excited to make a comedy where the women got to be multidimensional, because I think in a lot of comedies, the female characters are doing a very specific thing. And so that was the jumping off point in terms of being able to see the women we know in real life on screen in a fun way.
I think one thing that's so extraordinary about what Katie can do as a writer is she can identify the different voices of the character. It's not like, oh, this is the sort of tone of the comedy of the film and everyone's going to tell jokes within that same tone. We were very specific about each character and how they were really funny in different ways. And she's so good at kind of stepping into all of those roles and making them sharply funny in different ways. The extraordinary process of finding your own take on a film is so interesting. And, I fell in love with the concept of this film. I had my take on it, but the experience of meeting Katie and expressing my desire for what I thought it could be and having her somehow put that into words was really incredible. It's like a puzzle piece snapping into place. And it creates this exciting kind of brain trust. And I hope that everyone can find a creative partner that can help them communicate their ideas. I think a lot of people, don't take that leap because they don't find someone who can help them kind of articulate some ideas. And I think, there are writers looking for directors and directors looking for writers, and really the collaboration is magic. I don't really believe in the idea of like an auteur who does everything on their own. It's like, well, that's fine if that's what you want to do. What I find fun about this process is actually the team sport collaboration. And I think that kind of is exactly how we approached this together, and it's how the cast approached it.
So speaking from the ensemble perspective, I was wondering, do you guys take note that your director is also a very talented, experienced actor too? Can you feel the difference?
I mean, yeah, you definitely can. I feel like it was really an incredible experience working with a director who has had a lot of experience being an actor, and also she's just extremely talented. But I learned so much from her, and I think because that she was an actor before, I think you kind of learn what not to do and how sets can be. You can feel very uncomfortable as an actor, and Olivia made the environment so open and fun and made sure everyone felt good about what they were doing. And also she didn't put anyone in a box. She didn't make anyone feel like, okay, I'm in charge. This is what I want. It was sort of just like, let's talk about it and let's collaborate. It was really cool.
I love hearing that. What is one example of something you do at the very beginning to make sure everybody around you feels kind of included and comfortable?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, it's getting to know each of the actors and what their specific process is. What's their experience? Speak to them in the language they speak. You can't just say, this is the process, this is how it's going to be, because everyone comes to, it's a kind of a unique art form in that way. Everyone comes with different training, different levels of experience. Someone who's done a lot of theater training speaks in a different language than someone who's just all instinct and doing this for the first time, like a few of our actors were. And I really enjoyed being able to empathize, because if there's one thing that acting gives us, is the ability to empathize. So being able to really connect with each actor and think, what's the best kind of language to speak to you, and what's going to help you get to where I know you want to go, and then just creating an environment that was super conducive to their success. And in terms of creating that vibe, it was so much about relaxation. I think that it's a crazy thing to ask people to come together on a film set, which is so chaotic. It kind of feels like a construction site that then at a certain moment everyone has to be really quiet. And then the actor is expected to feel things authentically, and it's like, well, that's not going to work. You need to warm people up. You got to get people on the same rhythm. We used a lot of music to do that, and a lot of just conversations. And I really asked a lot of them. I asked everyone to be off book, and that allowed the space to actually have ideas on set. No one was doing that thing where we've all seen it, where someone walks to set with their sides going like, oh, this is that scene.
Or like hide them behind like a couch pillow and pull them out.
Yeah.
Like, what was that line? Like,
I said on the first day of prep, I was like, if anyone is hiding sides under them in a scene, I'll flip out. But no one did that. Everyone wanted to bring so much professionalism to it. So to answer your question, I created the set I had always wanted. And everybody just so surpassed my expectations and dreams immediately. Day one, I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, the first day of shooting was a really big scene. It is the sort of scene that kicks off the entire plot of the film. It was a huge amount of dialogue. And
back there for a second. Remember that day?
And they were so prepared. And it was just a dream. We knew at that point that we were in good hands with all these actors.
Because our viewers probably don't know too much about the movie, I was wondering if the three of you could tell us a little something about your characters, and maybe just because it sounds like this isn't really a movie that sticks to any kind of stereotype. So what is one thing about your character that you've never seen before in a movie?
Ooh, such a good question. So I play Molly, who is an extremely focused, passionate, dedicated human being, academically, and then also to her best friend Amy. She gives everything her all, but she sort of has rationalized that she needs Amy and she needs school, and that's all she thought she needed. And then this huge bomb is dropped on her by a character named AAA, played by my best friend in real life, Molly Gordon, which is really exciting. We play enemies in the film, which is very fun. And we don't want to give too much away, but a huge bomb is dropped on this girl that my character's projected a lot of assumptions onto. She thinks she's like this promiscuous, dumb girl, and it turns out she's not that. And it rattles Molly's world, and she goes to Amy and she's like, we have to show them that we're smart and we're fun, because we are both of those things, and we know that. So it's not necessarily this like adventure movie. It is all those things, but it's really just two girls trying to prove that they are who they know they are to the rest of their school. And then through that process, Molly learns a lot about that she's the one that's been doing a lot of judging. No one else has been doing as much judging as she's been doing the whole time. But it's really about our friendship first and foremost.
I play Amy, and she is, I would say, the same. She excels in school, the type of girl who starts her own clubs and is smart in her own way. But really, it's her whole life, it's been school and Molly, and that's kind of all she knows. And then they go on this amazing journey together, and I feel like the thing that attracted me most about Amy and reading her and bringing her to life is that she is a girl that feels like me. She's a girl that feels like my friends, my best friends, and the female friendship is so strong in this movie that I don't think I've ever seen really anything like it.
I also feel like, to answer the second part of your question, is that usually if there's that like bookish, intense girl, she's alone. She doesn't have her person, and everyone has their person, and so our movie is showing that dynamic. And I think what I love about our film is that it shows one, two, three, four different people that could generally be considered the same archetype. And so by doing that, it just busts that concept wide open, because we're both the smart girls. You know, Billy and Skylar, who plays Jared, are like the crazy rich party people. But by having more than one of those types, it just intrinsically just busts that concept wide open and shows you that no one is a type and everyone is a
and
fool.
that there's no shame in being smart or just being 100% yourself.
And that you like shouldn't judge a book by its cover. My character seems like she's this like crazy party girl, like kind of awful person, but then underneath it all you find out that she has a bigger soul and is more loyal than most of the other people at her school. So that's an interesting thing that happens, because that happens in life all the time. I was talking about it earlier today. When I was in school, I got voted most edgy and most likely to be on the cover of a tabloid. Thank you, Harvard-Westlake students. And that's not who I was. Like, yeah, I went to Coachella and maybe I went to a couple concerts, but like, I loved school and worked my ass off and was really into academics. But people thought I was this party girl, but I was not. So, GG.
Keeping with that theme, is there anything personal about yourselves that you wish that people knew? Like, especially being in this industry where people see you on screen and I'm sure judge all the time. Like, what's something that's really important to you that you wish everyone out there kind of knew?
I mean, I can speak for one thing that's really exciting about releasing this film is that letting the world know how many incredibly funny actresses are working right now. And all of these girls have done funny movies, but I think they get to show their comedy chops in this film in such a brilliant way. And it's so exciting for me when people see the film and they leave and they're like, oh my God, they all made me laugh so hard. And it's really important that we continue to show that women are funny and can be funny in different ways. And I that's something I'm excited to reveal, to show, like, these are some of the funniest girls I've ever met, and I'm really excited for everyone to get to enjoy that.
That's the thing I was going to say. She put so much trust into everyone that I think that every single person in this movie, you're never going to see them at this heightened experience. I don't think that they are so specific and intricate, and it's because Olivia put like 100% of her trust into all of us.
And that
Just
was
to say that.
behind the camera. Like, she made everyone better at every level of every part of this process, and that's what made it so special.
Your checks are in the mail. You're doing very well.
I love
I'll
hearing
take off
that.
the shock collars later.
I was also wondering about your experience going from, because we were talking about it before, one of the first times I interviewed you, it was for a documentary short, and I've never forgotten that film, those films actually. And then also I was wondering, having worked with Reed, is there anything about her eye that kind of stuck with you? Because another shot that I'll never get out of my head is the one with the yellow hoodie walking through Times Square.
I love the way you remember things. That's so great. I
can't believe how much I remember
I
sometimes.
know. I learned a huge amount. So speaking of like female friendships, Reed Morano is one of my dear friends and is a huge inspiration to me. She's someone who was one of the best cinematographers working, one of the only women cinematographers, and broke out of that role into directing. And I had the honor of producing her directorial debut, and watching her not only direct that but also DP that and operate was extraordinary, because she was so confident about her vision, and that really inspired me. You have to make the film only you can make. It's not worth it. Don't try to make something everybody enjoys. Make something you enjoy, and there will be an audience for it. But you have to be specific and confident in that, and Reed is so good at that. She also takes real risks, and she, the hoodie shot she's talking about was originally a 12-minute Steadicam shot following me walking through Times Square, just on my back. And I think there's a lot of people, I think we cut it down to a couple minutes for the final film, but also extraordinary that a female DP and operator could operate a camera for that many minutes, by the way, walking after me, because I walk very quickly through Times Square.
As you're supposed to.
As you're supposed to. But just the idea that, confidence in your choices as a director, saying, I know it's on the back of her head. I'm going to keep this camera here, and we're going to take this risk. There are several shots in this film that I'm really proud of. We had an extraordinary operator named Chris Harhoff, who was so great. I mean, he had done everything from Casino to Birdman. And when I knew he did Birdman, I was like, we're going to do some long Steadicam shots. But I really feel that having a friend to look at and admire in their kind of courage in their art form only pushes you to have that courage. And she was pumping me up the whole way through. And you know, I was hopefully doing that as much for her. But it's another example of female friendship and the power of it and the value of it. And that those relationships often get sort of like undervalued because we put so much focus in this culture on romantic relationships. But, you know, that's what's happening right now in the world. Women are connecting. There's been a revolution in the last year and a half, 2 years now. Like, people are waking up and realizing your female peers are your support system, and we have to do this together.
It really thrills me how many times I've had that conversation in just like the last 2 months alone.
that's
And
a good
I
sign.
freaking love it. I am so excited to see this movie. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I have so many more questions, but
Thank you.
for another time, thank you guys out there for watching this interview. Booksmart, keep an
Booksmart,
eye out
May
for
24th.
it right here from the Supper Suite at South by Southwest. Thanks a lot. We got more coverage coming for you real soon.